Strong Voices is a 2-year programme from Curious Minds. It's given additional support to young people who have needed it to enable them to access arts and culture opportunities.
Access to culture is a human right. It's part of the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights. All young people have a right to that, which means we have an obligation as providers of those experiences to make them accessible.
This work is important for so many reasons. Firstly, the children get a real sense of achievement and a real sense of fulfilment out of the work they do, and to have something at the end of it like a portfolio or a CD that they can take home just shows them, it gives them a visual aid of what they can achieve and what fantastic work that they're capable of doing.
I think it's always important for everyone to engage with arts, especially because, in my opinion, they're so vital to everyone's development and how people interact in life.
There's an economic imperative and there's a well-being imperative, and it's all about the health and well-being of the nation, really, and arts and culture is fundamental to that.
Arts and culture is important for everybody, but for whatever reason, some people find it much harder to access what's on offer than others. One person is unlikely to have all the skills needed to support some of these young people. So what this has meant is actively working together in partnership with youth and arts organisations to use each other's skills and expertise to support them.
Unique Kids is a charity that offers specialist services for disabled children aged 3 to 19. We offer a range of services including after-school club, holiday work, weekend work, respite care for parents. We also offer support for other practitioners who can come in and observe our practice and learn about how to make activities accessible for disabled children regardless of circumstance.
It's always important to make sure there's enough time to plan properly, and it's particularly important when the group has any kind of specific need.
So that is pretty much where we're at this stage. Yeah. That's it. You guys are in. First session is Thursday.
There's lots of different activities you can do with that.
Based around like that kind of thematic. Yeah.
Like, you can go anywhere with that really, and it's something quite concrete that they can engage with as well.
We have had a superhero week as well.
Brilliant.
We sort of spoke about the overall aims of the project and where we want them to get to by the end, and from our conversations with John we've just been sort of let's introduce the kids to a new medium, which is theatre. Have they encountered theatre of any description before?
Yeah, obviously at the Just So stories that I mentioned before, they watch the play but they're also able to interview the actors. What they might struggle with is the abstract concepts, so imagining things. Yeah.
The best situation is when the practitioners that will actually deliver and support the session have time to discuss things in detail.
I sort of felt slightly apprehensive in terms of what levels they were going to be at, because it's always hard to gauge if you've not met the person before. We were just thinking for the first session was some kind of getting to know you session.
Yeah. I think one of the main challenges is this perception that working with children with SEN and working with children who are disabled is going to be more challenging than working in a mainstream setting.
What do you want the participants to kind of get out of this project?
What we're hoping for is for them to be able to engage with you guys, to engage in a focused activity and to socialise with one another.
Okay.
It's more important that they are able to engage with one another.
So it's very much about the process and the approach to the process.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite nice to sort of go, well, we can use our bodies and we can use our voices like we do in everyday life to pretend to be in situations, so it works on imagination and all that kind of thing. But there's no sort of end goal at the end where we go, we want every child to be able to perform this, this, this and this.
Once they meet these children and realise how enthusiastic and inspirational they can be, they understand that there's very little they need to worry about. And once they've met the practitioners at Unique Kids, they understand there's always going to be that support network there.
So have a quick chat with your partner again and think about what an action for your activity might be. Have you got one for us, Joseph? Is that football as well? Yeah, football as well. I work with a group at the Dukes called Shattering Images, and they're an inclusive youth theatre group, so I'd certainly worked with that sort of client base before. And I'm going to pass it to Lou, who likes watching telly. But there's definitely a much broader range within this group, I think, which is, it's going to be more of a challenge in the coming weeks.
Tailoring your approach doesn't just mean tailoring to the group, it goes right down to the individuals within that group. And there's always more that we can learn, and we've found that being flexible and adaptable has really been the key.
Even in a group activity, we work with the individuals. Some of our individuals, if they can remain focused and engaged for 5 or 10 minutes, that could be a monumental achievement for them. For others, if they could socialise with their peers, that could be a real breakthrough.
Reading a book.
Okay.
I think it's definitely always at the forefront of your mind to sort of engage as many people in the room as possible. Drama games are for everyone, really, so we can definitely find a way to make that applicable for everyone.
Do you go back on the scooter?
Yeah.
Yeah?
The value of planning and reflection time just can't be underestimated. And this kind of work can be very intense, so it's easy to let that slip unless you're totally committed to doing it from the start. Trying new things can feel risky, so it's essential there's space to talk specifically about how things are working and whether the project is achieving its aims. That way, everyone has the opportunity to learn.
They've responded really well to you. They'll look forward to you coming back in, so you're already winning. If I could give any advice on what could be slightly better, and this is sort of minor tweaking, I'd keep it as unabstract, if that's a word. Going in and doing lots of abstract drama activities, that's perhaps not going to be as successful as going in under our sort of instructions and our expertise and allowing the children to ease into the sessions. If I was to improve it, I would get them to do the action bit, which I all really enjoyed, and that was great, reading a book, and then another child could come and say, "You're reading a book." So it's just, they've just got that visual aid, so they're not...
I think it's always about trying and testing new things. You've got to sort of keep adapting on your way.
We've found that it's during that reflection time that professionals have made changes to the programme that have really raised the quality of it, and they've also talked about making permanent changes to their practice.
This quarter we started to deliver our sessions ourselves, so on days when John and Jack aren't in, a member of the Unique Kids staff will sit and we'll deliver a whole group session, and we've learned that we ask other people not to underestimate our children, and we need to continue every day not to underestimate these children and what they're capable of.
Arts can contribute to young people's lives in so many ways, and through Strong Voices some young people have really enjoyed being in a group with others who share their situation and have used that as an opportunity to express things they've needed to express, and others have really used it as an opportunity to just forget all that and really have fun.
Tuesdays in the groups and stuff is literally the only day I can actually get out and about and socialise with other people that are in kind of similar situations to myself.
Are you happy to share your... Yeah.
42nd Street is a mental health organisation. We work with 11 to 25-year-olds, supporting any young person who self-identifies or who is referred by friends, family, school, doctors for mental health support.
The project is called Fun with Flags, or Summit with Flags anyway. And basically these designs we're doing will be printed onto the flags and put on display in an art gallery and stuff like that. And the idea behind them is to kind of tell a bit of a story about ourselves, but in a way that doesn't give too much away, but that other people can relate to as well.
The reason that we got involved in Strong Voices was because we were looking at how we could develop our group work, which has always had a creative element, but we wanted to maybe push that and expand that a lot and look at how we could use creative engagement to really help the young people that we work with.
It adds a bit of structure to the groups as well, rather than just going in and mindless chatter and stuff, and just chattering and stuff like that. It also adds a bit of structure to it, gives us a bit of something to do.
What we've identified is that young people who are coming to a group are really engaged and will continue coming if there's creative activity in that group. We can identify young people who have had a huge leap in terms of self-confidence because they've got involved in a project and have been able to express themselves in different ways.
It makes it easier to talk to other people while you've got something else to do. So like when you're drawing, you find it easy to talk.
We try to identify projects that we're already working on or that we want to work on, and we introduce a creative element into that project, and we add value to that project and we grow that project. The Somebody project, looking at body image and identity, we were able to expand that project and include a lot of creative activity and focus the project really on creative work with the young people, which ended in an exhibition.
It's like everyone's, you can tell everyone's made a journey in there with the portraits. And then you can't, it's not like you can point out who it is. So, like some of these quotes mean stuff to me that I can relate to.
I think it's allowed us to see some of the young people in a different way, and for them to talk to us about wider issues in their life rather than the problem.